Hi everyone, I'm going to demonstrate how to hook up Rotorhazard to be the decoder for a LiveTime software. So you can use Rotorhazard hardware and software, but rather than utilizing the Rotorhazard race management, you would want to use LiveTime race management for the functions and features that LiveTime provides that Rotorhazard cannot do. To do this is you go to Decoder and LiveTime, and you select Delta 5. That's important. So you select Delta 5, and you point to the IP address of your Rotorhazard system. Under Settings, sync event video frequencies. When you do that, that will send that channel information over to Rotorhazard and automatically change the channels in Rotorhazard to be utilized. When you're starting Rotorhazard, you don't have to do anything special. There's no special start options. Rotorhazard will automatically detect when LiveTime connects to it. LiveTime sends a message to Rotorhazard, and that puts Rotorhazard into the mode to emit the Delta 5 type timing to LiveTime. If you're curious, the web interface for Rotorhazard does still function. So if you go to the menu and settings, you can see that you have a frequency set up, but that frequency will reflect whatever you pressed on sync event video frequencies. The sensor tuning does still take place. So this is probably the only reason why you would go into the web interface for Rotorhazard, and that is to tune the nodes for your environment. And I've noticed as the day goes on, you may have to tune nodes, a second time or third time, depending on how things are working with your system. So sensor tuning you would utilize. Events and classes, there are no special events or classes needed. And heats, when you do the sync event video frequencies, it generates the heat with the pilot's name equal to the frequency name. So it automatically creates the pilots R1 through R3. So if we look at pilots, these pilots get created as a result of LiveTime hooking up. So this is not something that you had to set. Within Rotorhazard, that all happens automatically. What it looks like when you're running the race is I have a little race set up here for me and Mark. So when you hit the start race, what that does is that restarts the timer part of Rotorhazard. So if we look at Rotorhazard run, it's probably still, actually it's not running at this point, that's okay. When I say start race, you can see that it automatically, under the covers, started the race in Rotorhazard. And then quad passes, and do the pass, we can see that the pass gets seen by LiveTime. Inside Rotorhazard, if you happen to hit the plus lap button, what's Mark? Mark is race band 6. If I hit the plus lap button, it sends that same signal to LiveTime as well. I'm not sure why you would do that, but it's an interesting test. When you finish the race in LiveTime, it does not stop the race in Rotorhazard. That race will just keep on moving. When you start a new race in LiveTime, it will stop and restart a race in Rotorhazard. If you go into Rotorhazard and do a stop and save laps, that does allow you to go into the marshalling feature so you could see what happened in history, but only if you stop and save laps. Which does not happen automatically. So normally, marshalling wouldn't be available unless you want to see it, in which case you would stop in LiveTime, go to Rotorhazard, stop in Rotorhazard, save laps, stop, save laps, and then you could go to marshal and go to the latest round, and you could see the marshalling data for that. So here's the passes of my quad. You won't see any passes for Mark's quad because I didn't actually have his. That was a run by hand, so the source was manual there. So there is a way to see the marshalling. If you missed hits, you could rearrange your max and min bars, recalculate the race, and that will give you new times. And then you could, jot down those new times, remember that, and if a lap was missed, you would know what lap time to put into LiveTime if that happened. So that's all it takes to utilize Rotorhazard. Thank you for watching.